So 6 months ago, I sat at this conference. I listened to the speakers. I went to the workshops. I listened to the mic drops, and I ate it up. I loved it. I felt inspired. I wrote it all down. I took notes. Then we went out at night as a group of strangers who quickly became extremely close friends, and it was just amazing. It was awesome, and it was fulfilling, and I went home, and I was so excited. I was high on beliefs and inspiration and all the motivation that comes through it. So I walked into my clinic the next day, and I was happy and excited, and I sat at my little desk, and a staff member came up to me, and she said, "The most negative thing I have ever heard." And it was about a patient and a client, and why we shouldn't help the patient, right? And I sat there, and I kind of felt the crushing starting. But then I quickly rationalized. I was gone. They probably had a really tough week without me. I'm sure they were tired. It was probably just something, and I kind of brushed it off. Until I walked out to the treatment area, and I saw another staff member, and she said the second most negative thing I've ever heard. And I stopped, and I looked around, and this is my clinic. I own it. It's a part of me, and it is toxic. It is bad. And it had been bad before, but we fixed it. It was fine. No, it was bad again. And I proceeded to have the worst day at work that I have had in a long time after I had the best weekend in a long time. So after that, I made the decision that I was going to save my ship. And in order to do that, I had to let somebody go. And I threw up. I was lucky enough to have a practice manager who could do the actual firing for me because I was throwing up. But I liked this person. She's a good person. And she's amazing at what she does. She has great skills. She just didn't fit. We didn't bring out the best in each other. And I had to stay away from my clinic that day. My partner and my manager, they said, you've got to step back. You've got to let the staff process this. Because this is the person that they had all talked about. She was one we had meetings about. And they were crying more than I have ever seen anybody ever cry. The entire clinic was a disaster. And I had to stay away. They didn't know what to do, and I certainly didn't know what to do. So I went home, most likely threw up again, and then I posted on the Uncharted Facebook page at that time. And within minutes, there was part of the tribe there. And they were saying, what you did was right. It will get better. You guys will flourish. And at that moment, I had a decision. And what I decided was I decided to trust the tribe, even though everything I was seeing was telling me something different. My gosh, Michael, I never cry either. So when I walked into the clinic that next time, a day later, earlier in the morning than I had ever been there, I walked in with the attitude that we were going to get better. We were going to go to a place where my employees came first, their mental health came first, and that was going to, in turn, steer the ship. And that first day, I could barely breathe on the inside. But on the outside, I was an anchor. And I got myself a bracelet with an anchor, and every time anything was upsetting or worrisome, I looked down at that anchor, and I get through it. We were not prepared to lose somebody, and it ended up being multiple people. We didn't have the staff for that. So I went in there and I told the technicians to tell me what to do. I can run urine. I can draw up vaccines. I can do these things, and in doing that, the staff's faith in me came back, and my desire to protect them came back, and we worked on the big picture, and it was there. So what is it about the morning after? Why did I have the worst day ever when I came back from Uncharted? When you go to a conference, you're seeking something, and you often find people with a similar desire or need as you have, especially a small motivational conference. You may see people you've met before, your close friends, or your tribe, or you see strangers. But at the very least, you see people who share something and share your motivation, and they know what you're looking for and looking for a change. When you find this common ground, you come back feeling like $1,000,000. And you feel that way because you go in with a base of something that you know really well. I mean, you all know veterinary medicine. You know this subject. However, you're looking for a way to make it better. You are hungry to make it better, and you're adamantly looking for a solution. And then something happens. You listen, you think, you discuss, you brainstorm, and suddenly you have a vision for a better tomorrow. And you want that vision. You have no idea how to get it, but you desperately want it. You formulate a plan to attain it. You come back believing that you can get it. You are high on a tangible desire, and you are hopeful. And hope, that's what it's built on. That's what it is. All the things that change the world are built on hope. Every revolution, every long shot, it all starts with one person and one idea. Then you find some good mates, you have a beer or 10, and you knock your inhibitions down. We believe we can do anything. We believe if we want it, if we can dream it, then we can do it. And for me, that was what this conference was. And then you get back to real life. And that's the morning after. You wake up the morning after and you see the work. The morning after is when reality sets in and it sits right up and it smacks you in the face. Maybe things you've forgotten or convinced yourself aren't an obstacle really are, and you see that the morning after. The morning after is when it seems so oppressive. It seems so hard, and it seems so big. And big is good, but big is scary. Big is a commitment. Big takes time. Big is the ever-feared change. And what you found the night before, well, that's hope. And hope feels so good when we get it. But hope opens you up to risk, a risk of not getting what you desperately want, a risk of getting hurt and disappointed all over again, of putting yourself out there. But remember that hope is the greatest motivator of all time. Hope is the reason that we have things in this world. Hope is what allows progress. It's the long shots that come through and the revolutions that are started. And that's where we need to go. And that's what I found when I found my tribe. I found hope. I found vulnerability to open myself up to risk. I found the courage to do something really hard and make changes. And the morning after was so mind-crushing that I realized, with the help of my support anchors, that risk was worth the reward. That's what hope does. That's what it is. It might mean changing something and working like hell. And when you've got the support of a few, it grows. You work at it every day, systematically. You get on stage. You act like you know what you're doing. And you lead that. Not only do you convince yourself in doing that, you convince those around you. And it's the way it ripples out, just like a wave on the water. It's not a moment, it's a movement. And that movement will grow if it's allowed to. That movement will grow if it's protected and nurtured until it takes on an energy all of its own. In my opinion, that's the only way we save this profession. It's the only way we save what we have, is that we grow the movement from small moments. We nurture it, we change it to the positive. Because if we don't evolve. We don't pass on anything that's better than us. And I think that you will all agree in this room that that is certainly not the life that we want to live. Thank you.